Well, by now the class of 2016 is out in the real world, or maybe moved back home with mom and dad. Behind them, graduation and that great tradition of the commencement address, where some high-value or high-dollar speaker imparts wisdom for the ages. In the past, commencement speeches were intended to challenge and provoke thought. Not so much anymore on some university campuses where political correctness has run amok. In years past, some speakers have been disinvited from campuses because students find their message offensive. Last year, we spoke to one notable member of that group, Washington Post columnist, Fox News contributor, and fierce defender of the First Amendment, George Will. We asked why he was disinvited from speaking at one college. What's your understanding of why you were disinvited from Scripps College?
Well, it's quite clear, although they didn't have the courage to say so. I wrote a column expressing doubts about the social science behind the claim that there's a rape epidemic on campuses.
It's my understanding the program was to bring differing views on campus, but you were in essence disinvited for your differing views.
Campuses are very big on diversity and everything but thought.
What's the harm that you see in this crackdown of freedom of expression on campuses at colleges? Does it matter?
It matters because we're teaching young people that they have a capacious new entitlement. It's the entitlement to go through life without ever being offended. Therefore, they produce not freedom of speech, but freedom from speech that might cause them distress, anxiety, disrupt their serenity. It's a universal entitlement now to serenity.
How do we get there? Because I think most people believe schools ought to be places where this sort of free thought is encouraged, even ideas that may be offensive to some. How has it been turned on its head?
Well, the First Amendment has been under assault for some time. Even in Washington, 54 Democratic senators voted last year to amend the First Amendment to empower the political class in the name of campaign finance reform to regulate the content, quantity, and timing of political speech about the political class. So people are being taught that the First Amendment is negotiable. Never mind the pristine clarity of the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law abridging freedom of speech. Then there's something about modern parenting, I don't know what it is, but we have produced these delicate little snowflake children who will melt if they encounter the heat of real controversy. I don't know what it is that parents are doing, but I wish they'd cut it out.
Do you think this is an organized effort on campuses where somebody is going around and actually pulling these kids into this way of thinking?
No, it would be less alarming if it were, because then it would be an organized political opposition you could argue with. This is just in the social atmosphere. It's a kind of assumption, unquestioned. It doesn't need to be organized. It's spontaneous, and that, to my mind, makes it all the more ominous.
Whatever happened to the idea of, I don't like what you say, but I'll fight for the death for your right to say it?
It's been amended. It now is, I disagree with what you say, and if you continue to say it, I will call the thought police here on campus and have you at least relegated to a tiny little free speech zone on campus, irrespective of the fact that I think James Madison's First Amendment made the entire continental United States a free speech zone.
The disinvited have now even formed their own club, and George Will was their first speaker. Next week on Full Measure, one look, and it's clear why security